Right now, without deciding to, you're making sounds that are not words. A breath pushed hard through your nose. A hum when you agree with someone. A click of your tongue when the page will not load. You think of these as noise, static around the real signal. But the real answer is far stranger. These sounds are not the debris of language. They are older than language. They were coming out of your ancestors' mouths before a single word existed anywhere on this planet. So, what did your species sound like before it could speak? The problem is that sound leaves nothing behind. A jawbone lasts 2 million years. A scream lasts 2 seconds. So the answer has to be rebuilt from bones, genes, and the relatives you still have. Start with the bones. Under your jaw, floating in soft tissue, sits a small horseshoe-shaped bone called the hyoid. It is the only bone you own that exists purely for sound. In 1983, in a cave on Mount Carmel in Israel, Baruch Arensberg and his team recovered one from a buried Neanderthal, 60,000 years old, almost impossible to tell apart from yours. For decades, the reigning view held that the Neanderthal throat was simply the wrong shape for speech. Then the argument came apart from an unexpected direction. In 2016, Asif Ghazanfar and Tecumseh Fitch ran X-ray video on living macaques and modeled every shape those throats could produce. The result was uncomfortable. The monkey vocal tract could form clear, intelligible vowels. The monkeys were not silent because their throats were wrong. They were silent because their brains could not drive them. The bottleneck was never the plumbing. It was the control system, which makes this a story about breath. Say a long sentence out loud and notice what your chest does. One quick breath in, then you spend it slowly across 12 seconds, landing on the last word exactly as the air runs out. A chimpanzee cannot do that. Ape calls ride the breath cycle. In, out, done. Anne McLarnon and Gwen Ward found where that changed in a place nobody expects. The spine. Finer chest control demands thicker nerve bundles, which demand a wider canal through the vertebrae. In chimpanzees, it is narrow. In Homo erectus, it was still narrow. In you, it is wide. Somewhere in between, your ancestors learned to breathe on purpose. Not for oxygen, for sound. So the throat was ready, the breath was ready. What was actually coming out? The archaeologist Stephen Mithen argues it was something he calls holistic, manipulative, multimodal, musical, mimetic. Holistic, because there were no words to rearrange. One sound shape carried an entire situation, the way a siren carries an emergency without containing a single noun. Manipulative, because the point was never to describe the world. It was to move somebody. Come here, back off, follow. And musical, because it lived in pitch and rhythm, closer to melody than to sentences, which means words may not have been assembled into sentences. Sentences may have been broken down into words. Darwin said it first. In 1871, your ancestors sang before they spoke. Meaning was carved out of the song afterward. So why would a hominid start singing at all? Dean Falk points at a problem no other primate has. A baby chimpanzee clings, gripping its mother's fur while she climbs. Your species lost the fur, and upright walking meant infants arrived earlier and more helpless, with almost no grip. So a mother who needed both hands had to put the baby down. And a baby on the ground, out of reach, will scream. She reached for it with the only thing left. Her voice, rising and falling, exaggerated. You already know this sound because you make it. Pick up a baby and your voice climbs half an octave without permission. The vowels stretch. The rhythm turns into something almost sung. Falk's argument is that this was not a side effect of language. It may be the workshop where language was built. Then there is laughter. Robert Provine eavesdropped on more than 1,000 real episodes of it in public and found that very little followed a joke. Most followed ordinary statements, and it almost never landed mid-phrase, only in the gaps at the ends of sentences. Something in you is taking turns with your own speech. A chimpanzee laugh is rough panting. It's tied to breath going in and out. Yours is one exhale chopped into pieces. Ha, ha, ha. Your laugh runs on the same hard-won breath control that lets you finish a sentence doing work no sentence can do. Latin died. Sumerian died. Thousands of languages are dying right now. But the sigh, the hum, the wail, The shushing sound you make to calm someone down have never needed to be taught, translated, or preserved. Right now, without deciding to, you are making sounds that are not words. They are not the noise around your language. They are the language your ancestors had first, and the one you never stopped speaking.